What is going on, guys? Welcome back to 4-0 Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about this solo flawless run on Pit of Heresy. My new clan, 6 Beers Deep, have like weekly events and stuff, and they had dungeons this week, so it was Shattered Throne, Pit of Heresy, and there were different point systems for being able to do that. So I hopped back in there and I was doing a bunch of solo runs and got my flawless solo, and a lot of the guides that are out right now are outdated for sure from like the Season of the Undying and things like that, and I found some new strategies and some new techniques and new builds and stuff like that that was super easy once I got it all locked down. You should have no problem at all right now. This might be the easiest time there's ever been to get a flawless run. So yeah, guys, hopefully this helps you out. If it does, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Destiny content. Hop on the wagon. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the build that I used to complete this. I ran on a Warlock, but most of this guide applies to all the classes, so you can really run on whichever one you want. All should work. But for me, I ran Warlock and I ran Middle Tree Dawnblade for the Well. I found the Well was extremely useful just for survivability, and in the third and fourth encounter, you are going to need something like this. I know like Titans can use a bubble just fine, and Hunters use invisibility and tether, so either of those classes should work fine. But the most important part of this build is definitely the weapons. Most importantly, the sword. You're going to need some kind of sword for this strategy to work. Swords have just become super strong, and I highly recommend one with Whirlwind Blade and Relentless Strikes if you can. That helps with ammo conservation. And then I always use Jagged Edge, which gives me the most damage at the sake of sword ammo. Using the mods and stuff that I have here in this guide, you're never really going to have an ammo issue. I never ran out of sword, and I used it primarily for everything throughout the encounters. Up here, I took Izanagi's because it gives you an insane amount of burst from long range, so it really helps with your survivability. You don't have to go in and get too close with stuff, and it makes it super easy to take out some of the more challenging enemies from afar. I found that the Traveler's Judgment is a great option as well. Sidearms in general are extremely strong right now and are great against targets at both close and medium ranges. So moving on to my armor, one of the major things that sets this build apart is the use of Protective Light and Charged Light mods. Protective Light is extremely valuable, and it's in a bunch of my Grandmaster Nightfall builds. It gives you that extra damage reduction, that extra survivability when you need it most, like right when you're about to die. And when you're talking about a solo flawless run, this is so important. Hopefully you have access to this, but if you don't, it's okay. You're still going to be able to do it with this guide pretty easily. You're just going to have to be more careful. This just provides a great safety net for you if you get into trouble. Besides that, on my helmet, I'm running Heavy Ammo Finder and Sniper Rifle Ammo Finder. This makes sure that my Izanagi's and sword have ammo at all times. Moving on to my hands, I do have a Shield Break mod, which gives me a charge with light anytime I break an enemy shield. There aren't that many shields in here, but it's just worth throwing on since I had an extra point. I also ran double small arms loader, but if you wanted to swap one out for a sniper loader, you certainly could. I mostly just use mine with Honed Edge, which sniper reload mods don't work with anymore. I also ran the Minor Resist mod here, which gives me 10% damage reduction from all red bar enemies. Moving down, I ran Phoenix Protocol. This is really just useful because it allows me to always have my well up. I use my well primarily as just like a panic super. You know, things aren't going well, enemies are charging you or something, you're about to die, you just pop the well and you're good to go. Outside of a few encounters or a few parts of the encounters where you really need the well. This really allows you to have your well up at all times, just always having that extra safety net. Once again, I'm running a resist mod, the boss resist mod in this case, so that I take less damage from the boss, 10%. And I'm using large arms and sniper rifle reserves, allowing me to carry more ammo when I'm maxing out and still be able to pick up bricks. Moving down, I have the final resist mod, a major resist, which gives me 10% from all yellow bar enemies. I also have the enhanced sword scavenger mod. This is insane. I highly recommend using it. It's in the season pass. It only costs 1 energy. And like I've picked up bricks before where I get like 40 ammo. So this will help you stay capped out 100% of the time with your sword ammo. It's crucial in my opinion for this build. Also ran the special amager, so when I'm picking up Izanagi ammo, I get extra of there as well. And my final mod here is the Taking Charge mod. This is really crucial because anytime you pick up an Orb of Light, you're going to become charged, allowing you to keep up that protective light mod we talked about on the helmet at all times. Moving down to the class item, 2 of the most important mods in this build. The Artifact Passive Guard mod. This is going to make sure that anytime that you have your sword out, you have a 500% damage reduction. That is insane. You'll see it throughout all my encounters. It helps keep me alive. It helps me kill enemies quickly. And it's super important for damage phase on the final boss. The other important one is Hive Barrier. If you guys have this, super powerful in the Pit of Heresy. Since everything is Hive, you have basically a non-stop 20% damage reduction. Also great again for survivability. That's all we're trying to do here is increase your survivability and make it almost impossible for you to die. I also had Special Finisher on here. I never really actually used this because I always had so much ammo thanks to all my ammo mods. So you could swap this out for, say, a sword super mod, and that would probably be extremely useful for keeping your super up as well, especially if you're running a different class that doesn't have Phoenix Protocol, or if you wanted to run a different build without Phoenix Protocol. Finally, I had Arc Resistance on because I just happened to have an Arc bond that I was using, but I would highly recommend Solar if you guys have the option, as there is a lot of solar damage throughout the encounters. So that's the full build. I used an insane amount of survivability. Let's go ahead and hop into the run, and I'm going to break down basically all the tips and tricks, every little thing you need to know to make it super easy to get this flawless run done. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see I'm hopping in here, and one of the main things you're going to want to do is just stay back, play slow, play from afar. You can see I got a Hone Dead shot off on the knight that opens the door before any of the enemies even knew I was there. Playing like this is going to help make sure you stay alive throughout these encounters. Also, you'll see I'm taking the time right now. I could just go through and sword slash these guys, but I killed them with my masterworked Traveler's Judgment. That allowed me to create Orbs of Light, and now I already have a 2-time stack, which gives me that safety net for protective light. You always want to try and keep 2 charges of light active at all times if you can. And getting multi-kills with your masterworked primary is a great way to do that. Another quick, easy tip is just don't be afraid to use your super. Like I said, I was using my well kind of as a panic super. You see I dropped down, this ogre's kind of like glitched inside. They shouldn't really be in these temples anyway. But I'm able to just drop my super, pull out the sword, giving me the 500% damage reduction, and it's no problem at all. Aside from that, this encounter is pretty straightforward. Just take your time, go through, kill the ads as normal. If you don't know this encounter, we actually have a full Pit of Heresy guide out where you can go learn everything. But yeah, I'm going to expect that you already know all the fights. The only thing I would say is right here at the end, you can actually stand back and kill this knight from afar with 1 Hone Dead shot, and then walk in where it'll trigger all the ads. As you can see right here, I walk in, it immediately says the way is cleared, and all these ads will spawn for a little bit. I like to use this to get some charge with light if I need it, but in general, you can just stand back and they're all going to despawn after a short period of time. This makes it way easier to open the final door. Moving on to the ogre room, this is pretty straightforward as well. I like to start on the left side and work my way right. On your screen now, you'll see a full map of the encounter. I run into 3 and I kill the knight in there to get my first orb. And then you'll see I drop down on the cliffside and work my way over to gate 1. Here you'll see the first of many ball duplications, or ball dupes for short. These allow you to slam the ball, but making a copy of it that you can then pick up again. I use this throughout the entire encounter. It makes it a lot easier so that you don't have to kill as many ads, and you'll see this in both the third and final encounter as well. In order to do this, all you have to do is simply swap your weapon by pressing Y and immediately follow it by holding X to slam the ball. When you swap, it will drop the orb, but then it will still allow you to slam the ball if you do it fast enough for a short time after. This should work flawlessly every time, and the only thing that you can mess up is if you try to pick up the ball too early. If you try to pick up the duplicated ball while still in the slamming animation, the ball will disappear. So make sure you wait till you're completely done the animation and then pick it up. Moving on, I'll take that duplicated ball to gate 2 so I don't have to worry about killing any additional knights, and then I'll dupe another ball, in which I'll then take to 3. Just follow the map and steer clear of ogres and you should be fine. The only other advice I have is that if you do find yourself in a pinch and an ogre is about to slam you, make sure you swing the orb at the ogre. As you can see, I avoid the knockback completely where I would have otherwise been shot off the wall. You can also see right here the Shelter by the Void kicked in, which is my protective charge with light mod, and without that I would have died here. A great example of where both of those things can come in handy. After completing the ogre room, we'll move on to the third encounter. This is where the ball duping becomes extremely important. Right here, I like to switch off my sword since I'm not going to need it in this encounter. Because of the ball duping mechanic we're going to use here, you really won't need your heavy much. So I like to put something solar on that's going to help me with the wizards in the next encounter. There's no rally flag in the next encounter, so it's great to use it here to make sure you have full ammo in the maze. So for this encounter, it's really important that we just focus mainly on survivability. That will allow us to get 6 ball dupes off back to back to back so that we can finish the encounter extremely quickly. As you can see here, I use my Traveler's Judgment to make a bunch of orbs to get me my charge with light. You're going to want to make sure that you have 2 stacks of this ready to go for when you begin your ball duping. After you're ready for that, just clear adds here in the middle and try and start taking down the knight. Once you're ready, push over to the left plate. You can kill all the adds there, ensuring your survivability. Finish off the knight, and you can pick up your orb. You're going to immediately run back to the middle and get ready for your ball duping. Right here, you can see my Shelter by the Void actually saved me where I would have died. I put down my well, I stand on the plate to reset the activation for the white mechanic, and now I can begin ball duping. As you can see, I'm going as quickly as possible, but also making sure that I'm completely out of the animation before picking up the duplicated ball. If you accidentally pick up the ball too early and end up losing your duplicated ball, you're pretty much shit out of luck and will be forced to wipe because of all the adds you spawn every time you slam. After 3, I like to stand in the middle to reset the timer since I do have enough time with my well, and then I'll go back for the last 3. Although you could do all 6 in a row if you wanted to, and this could be more useful on a class like a Hunter where you have less time and don't have the luxury of a well or a bubble. This is one of the most nerve-wracking parts, and it's definitely a part where there's high pressure to get it done quickly, but I assure you it's way easier than trying to do this encounter legit. Moving on to what I like to call the Tunnel of Death, this is actually where I had the most trouble. Normally, I can just fall straight down and I have the timings pretty well, but on the first go, I actually tried to do that and died to what seems like nothing. Just literally glitched out and I died. The second time, I messed up and got hit by the thing. It really sucks to lose that far in. So I would highly recommend just taking your time and jumping down through each section. You'll see these little rims that you can land on and you're pretty much safe from. Now what I'm shooting at right now, those are the ones you really need to watch, because on another run that I did, I actually jumped and I was moving around the rim and then got hit from it from above. So they can come down and hit on top of you. So make sure that you keep all this in mind as you move from layer to layer, and you should be fine. As you move into the maze room, it's pretty straightforward as well. Just take your time, watch the obstacles, and just don't rush anything. Definitely not worth dying this far in. Here's a full map of the maze so that you guys can make your way through and get it done quickly. Assuming that you swap to your solar weapons before the 3rd encounter, you should have been able to rally and you would have full ammo. This makes killing the wizards extremely easy so that you don't have to risk death. Once you've killed all 3 wizards in the maze room, you can continue to the final encounter. Here you're going to want to swap back to your sword and your Izanagi's for the final fight. Now for this part, I actually use the ball duping mechanic again so that I only have to kill 1 of the 3 major champions. But in some cases, that does put you at more risk. When ball duping on this encounter, you will notice that it does get a little glitchy sometimes. Some of the champions can respawn. The boss will sometimes trigger an extra damage phase, different things like that. These are all things to consider, but I think the benefit of only having to deal with the Shrieker and not have to worry about the Wizard or the Knight is a big benefit. So as you can see here, to start off, I make my way to the back and I kill the Knight that's right in front of the Shrieker plate. I then jump up and I'll head straight to the back. Behind these towers, you can go on the back of all 3. This is going to be kind of your safe zone. You'll always be able to kind of stay here. You won't have to worry about ads. They'll chase you out a little bit for the most part. They kind of leave you alone back there. So if you ever get into a pinch, just try and make your way back there. You'll see I kill all the ads first, and then I can easily take out the Shrieker by using the guard tactic. Now there will be lots of ads spawning in the middle, so once again, just be sure to take your time, clear out the ads. You don't want to try and rush it too much and risk dying here. You're all the way at the end. So you'll see I like drop the ball here, try and clear out the middle a bit, and then keep going. Now once I'm in the middle trying to move around and slam on my orbs, you'll see these little podiums. Thrallin things will spawn here, acolytes and whatnot when you do ball slams and whatnot, but they are a great place to stand and kind of keep some cover away from the boss and other ads as well. You'll also notice that some of the guys back on other plates will shoot at you from behind, so be sure to just take them out. You'd rather be safe than sorry once again. Now, as you're going around, make sure that you're only slamming orbs that the boss isn't near, because he can boop you off. But after you get the final slam, we're going to do our damage phase. We're going to use our sword, and we're going to put a well down. As you can see, on this first phase, I actually had to panic super to stay alive. So now I'm actually fighting him outside of the well. But because of the 500% damage reduction on him, he really doesn't do much damage at all to me. So I take cycles and go in and out of my well, trying to stay alive. Cutting to the end of this damage phase, you can see I really only managed to do about a third, maybe 25% of his health, but I'm not that stressed on it because the sword actually does so much damage if you can get a great damage phase off. I was just unfortunate having to use my well early and not being able to put it right on top of him. Also, another big tip is to make sure that you do have your charged light when you go into the damage phase. That's going to be really helpful to have that protective light just in case you do take too much damage during a damage phase. As you can see right here, I was ready for my final slam, but I decided to come up here on the night plate and kill some enemies, creating a few orbs, allowing me to get charged with light ×2. Now we're good to go. I'll slam the final ball. And this time I actually get off a good damage phase, which you can see how just insane it is. I'll let this play out. So as you can see, on a good damage phase where you get the well off right on top of him, or in a Titan's case, a bubble, or you use a tether or whatever, you know, using invisibility and things like that, you could really get a ton of damage off. You don't have to worry about dying. The Thrall just exploded right on me, and I have no regard for them. Just nuts. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that helps. If you guys follow this guide, you really should have no problem completing your first solo flawless run. It's probably the easiest time there's ever been to get it. The sword mods, the sword damage phase, just it's insane. The protective light mods and all that. If you have the high barrier, just so much survivability. It's almost impossible to die. And the ball dupes right now, they were patched before, so this is like the second version, the 2.0 version of the ball dupes. There was still like another glitch that people figured out, but they could potentially patch this again. So I would recommend getting in there and doing it before the season's over, because you never know how the meta is going to change and if they're going to patch the ball dupes. Also share this with your friends, make sure that they get this info and stuff so that they can complete it before the season's over as well. If it is another season, hope this helps. Hope some of this still applies. All the charged light mods and stuff like that will still apply. So get out there and good luck, guys. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe for more, join the wagon, and we'll see you next time. Peace.